Hello, I'm Gail Royster, President of the Rotary Club of Hudson. Rotary International is a 100-year-old organization of 1.2 million business and professional leaders in more than 200 countries, providing humanitarian service, building goodwill, and peace in the world. The Rotary Club of Hudson, formed in 1930, is a group of men and women who support the international mission, but who are also joined together by a common interest in service to our own Hudson community. A sincere desire to give back. Our primary focus is on local activities such as student scholarships, the service learning class at Hudson High, Hudson Community First, Hudson Community Service, and Boy Scout Troop 321, to name just a few. In addition, Rotarians volunteer their services for such activities as Santa on the Green, Salvation Army's Red Kettle, Relay for Life, Hudson Bandstand, Art on the Green, Bob's Bikes, which is a program that we created and is unique to our club, the four-way speech contest, and many, many others. You might have heard of the four-way test, which is followed by Rotarians worldwide in their business and professional lives. It has been translated into more than 100 languages. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? You are about to watch excerpts from one of our recent meetings. Please enjoy.
Good morning, Rotarians.
Good morning, Ronnie.
And guests, but I don't see any guests, I don't think. So you all know who I am. Ron Strobel, the Sergeant at Arms. And I have real duties today to keep everybody on time. I'm sorry I'm looking at you, Duncan.
Wow.
Invocation this morning is by Phil Tobin.
Thank you, Ron. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. You know, I have a sad note to report. I noticed the paper this morning that Ed Ahern died. I believe that's Jim Ahern's father. I can't really tell. Is it? So our prayers go with Jim and his family on that. As for the invocation, Heavenly Father, we are grateful to you for giving us our community of Rotarians in Hudson, and for the many opportunities to understand how we can use our collective talents to make our world a better place. In your name we ask it. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Phil. And to lead us in the pledge and the four-way test as his farewell speech, Mike Lewis.
And to follow up on Phil's invocation, I just wanted to let those who don't know that today is my last meeting with this club, and thank you very much.
That was not me. My hands didn't.
Andy, I'm glad you showed up. But I just wanted to express my appreciation for everything that I've experienced with this club. It's been the people, the service venues that we've gone through, and everything else has just been absolutely wonderful, and I urge you to keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Let's do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it the truth?
second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And to lead us in song, we have a song mistress this morning, Gail Royster.
How about America the Beautiful?
All right.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
And I'll be passing the names of the two guys that were talking during the song on to the songmeister.
Here, here.
And to lead us this morning, President Allison Feaster.
Good morning. Who's making a difference?
We are.
Thank you. And thank you, Mike Lewis. It's with regret we accept your resignation, and we know our loss will be Avon Lake Rotary Club's gain. So good luck and have fun in Arizona as well. Thank you to our greeters, Max Wendell and Craig Tallman. Thank you for being so cheery this morning. And of course to our AV team. We have no guests this morning, so Chris doesn't have to stand up. Jimmy Sutphen, who is the chairman of our Recognition Celebration Committee, is going to update us on the latest events going on.
Thank you, Allison. We get this thing again. Birthdays this week. Joe,
All right.
July 21st. David Ash, July 21st. And on this Friday, July 25th, is Ed Sogan. I believe that David Ash, is he here? Okay, Joe, this is for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. You know, I always lose this job, you know. You know, I'd like to follow up on Rich Warfield last week, and of course, he is going to be membership chair, and I know Tom Tobin, who was with it, doing that job for many years, that it's an interesting discussion. I passed out this morning a newsletter from November of the year 2000, which is almost 14 years ago. It was before the clock tower started, but you'll notice that on the list of names, there's only 11 of us who were members of our Rotary Club in 2000. Through attrition, people passing away, people moving. So I would like to just re-emphasize how important it is to try to bring one new member to our club this year by the year, by let's say June 30th of 2015. Because I was in the trade association business for a long time, and that was the key to our success, was membership. And so it's an important thing to talk about. I think we all love Hudson Rotary, that's for sure. Also, a week from today, right here at Laurel Lake, there's a pavilion over here called the Barlow Pavilion, and there's going to be a happy hour for both the Clock Tower Club and our club. It's going to be at 5 o'clock. It's $15 a person. I'm going to pass around a sign-up sheet. Hope that that you'll be able to attend. It'll be a very fun occasion right here at River City. And I think I am
I
finished.
think you should have the people who are still on the members here stand up. 2000. Okay.
Do you have an assignment?
All the people that were here.
Yay!
Good idea.
When Andy's here, he's here, right? Couple of sad milestones. Phil mentioned it, but Jim Ahern's dad died July 21st. The funeral mass will be Saturday at St. Mary's Church in Hudson at 10. Calling hours Friday 6 to 8 p.m. at Johnson Romito Funeral Home in Hudson. And Ed Sogan's mother-in-law, Phyllis Lindner, died July 12th. So we are remembering them and the families in our prayers, of course. Moving on to happier news, we do have social event reminders. Don't forget we have in addition to the TGIF, the last Wednesday, which is the 5th Wednesday, we also have the Rotary Cleveland Indians game August 1st, Screen on the Green August 23rd, Art on the Green August 23rd and 24th, and of course our golf outing August 28th. So sign up, be there, so we can get to know each other better and have a great time.
Allison, do we have a joint meeting with our other club in Hudson?
It's a social event.
When is that?
It's, hold on.
Does that count as a makeup?
For you, anything, I think. It's July 30th, 5:30 to 7:30 here at Laurel Lake. So it's a joint opportunity to mingle and have some fun. All right, are you ready to play Rotary Jeopardy? All right, here's the clue. Cuba welcomed this Rotarian when his plane was hijacked. Buenos dias, señor. Hasta la vista. Cuba welcomed this Rotarian when his plane was hijacked.
Who was Bob Hills?
Come get your prize. An airplane. Great job, Ben. Bob Hills is the correct answer. Who is Bob Hills is the correct answer. Next meeting, our 5-minute Rotarian speaker will be Joe Avella. We'll be going in alphabetical order, so you could always cheat and check the website to see when your turn will be coming. Next, our Rotarian historian, larger than life, Duncan Tanner, is going to talk to you about a subject near and dear to my heart and to this table to my right.
You're all concentrated. Well done. Good morning, fellow history buffs. Come on. It's a big one. Women in Rotary. Please, hold your. Well, that just pulled the rug out of the ending. Thank you very much. To understand the importance of the induction of women in Rotary and why it took so long, let's first take a look at a brief timeline of women's issues. 1876, the Summit Beacon, precursor to the Akron Beacon Journal, reprints True Womanhood, a popular manifesto of the day claiming that a true woman is a pious, submissive wife and mother concerned exclusively with home and family. Easy. 1920, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution is ratified, giving women all rights and responsibilities of citizens of the United States, among those, the right to vote. 1950, a Rotary Club in India proposes dropping the word male from the standard Rotary Club Constitution at the Rotary International Convention. The resolution is unanimously defeated. 1963, the Equal Pay Act is signed into law, making it illegal for women to be paid less than a man for the same job. Today, a woman's paycheck is still only 88% of that of a man. 1977, this is classic. The Rotary Club of Duarte, California admits women into membership. Their charter is a vote, revoked, not to be reinstated for another 15 years. Finally, 1988, the Rotary Club of Hudson gathers at its usual meeting place, Little Joe's Pub. Earlier in the week, the board has proposed women for membership, primarily because it was the right thing to do but possibly in small part because one Sharon Blackford had been picketing Little Joe's Pub every week for 2 months. And I know some of you recall that. Wisely, then President Clarence Burkholder and others recommended that at least 4 women be proposed for membership, including, of course, Mrs. Blackford. So no one woman would have to shoulder the burden alone. 3 longtime members immediately resigned. 1989, the Rotary International Council on Legislation votes to admit women into clubs worldwide. And finally, in 1992, Deborah Wise is named our first club female president. Gentlemen, let's give it up for the ladies. Next week, Rotary fights polio.
Well, that was interesting. Thank you, Duncan. Really enjoyed it. And I'm sure this table to the right did as well, right? Yeah. And Donna, you're not at our table. Okay. Oh, you're at the bad boy table. That's why we didn't recognize you, Catherine. That's all right. They have to have a token. Oh. So what do Duncan Tanner, Bob Cramp, James Field, and Andy Morris have in common? There are speakers today, and of course I think that for a fine day we should note that Rich Warfield's answer of "they're all very old" should be fine. Jimmy Sutphin's response, "same college," was a good try. Brad Nelson's "they all have July birthday," good try too. But Ron Barnhouse, check the website. Come here, Ron. He actually checked the website and had the right answer, that these are our speakers for today. So I have for him a Rotabuck ticket. And that's for going on the website, yes. Gail, are you ready?
Good morning, Rotarians. Good morning, Gail. I am speaker chair for July, and we've been dedicating the month of July to getting to know our club a lot better. And so we're going to start this morning with Jimmy Sutphin, because I asked him to explain, why do we have an invocation when we start the meeting, and what's the history behind it, and are there any rules around, what we can say during invocation, etc. So please welcome Jimmy Sutphin.
For sure, it was a worthy project. I did send an email. Imagine that. I sent an email. It was my second one.
Why'd you put a stamp on it?
He really knows how to hurt a guy. But I did send an email to Rotary International in Evanston, and this is the response I received from a lady by the name of Susan Schmidt. Dear Rotarian James, I understand you would like to know more about the idea of starting a meeting with an invocation. Unfortunately, I'm not sure where the idea started. It is difficult for us to know when many traditions or customs first began in Rotary clubs, since our clubs are autonomous and located around the world. I would guess that this is a long-standing tradition in many clubs, just as singing patriotic songs or Rotary theme songs. Please note that while clubs are welcome to include invocations in their meetings, it is not a requirement. In addition, in the 2013 Manual of Procedure, it states the following on the subject of invocations and prayers. Rotary clubs throughout the world include members who have many different religious beliefs, values, and yet are united by their service to humanity. Each Rotary club uses its own judgment in conducting its meetings in a manner that reflects Rotary principles of tolerance and emphasis shared Rotarian service ideals and projects. In the early 1990s, past President Cliff Dockerman published a collection of short articles on Rotary in the ABCs of Rotary. I think his section on invocations and club meetings is very well written, so I'd like to share that with you. Many Rotary clubs customarily open their weekly meetings with an appropriate invocation or blessing. Usually, such invocations are offered without reference to specific religions or denominations or faith. Rotary policy recognizes that throughout the world, Rotarians represent many religious beliefs, ideas, and creeds. The religious beliefs of each member are fully respected, and nothing in Rotary is intended to prevent each individual from being faithful to such convictions. All international assemblies, I thought this was interesting, and conventions, it is a tradition for a silent invocation to be given in respect of all religious beliefs and in the spirit of tolerance for the wide variety of personal faiths. All participants are invited to seek divine guidance and peace in their own way. Usually, all Rotary International board meetings and committee meetings begin with a few moments of a silent meditation. Because each Rotary club is autonomous, the practice of presenting a prayer or invocation in each club is left entirely to the tradition and the customs of the individual club, with the understanding that these meetings rituals are non-denominational in nature and conducted in a way that respects the religious convictions and faiths of all members. I thought that was very helpful and very interesting, and thank you, Gail.
I had no idea I was giving him such a challenge. I had to research that, but thank you, Jimmy. Very interesting. Okay, we have been for a few years, had the privilege of having AV equipment and a relationship with HCTV, and to tell us all about that and what's involved and actually the work that's involved as well, I present to you James Field.
Start this off. If you're wondering where the videos end up, Jimmy's basement, yes.
Hello, I'm Gail Royster, President of the Rotary Club of Hudson. Rotary International is a 100-year-old organization of 1.2 million business and professional leaders in more than 200 countries, providing humanitarian service, building goodwill, and peace in the world. The Rotary Club of Hudson, formed in 1930, is a group of men and women who support the international mission, but who are also joined together by a common interest in service to our own Hudson community. A sincere desire to give back. Our primary focus is on local activities such as student scholarships, the service learning class at Hudson High, Hudson Community First, Hudson Community Service.
Okay, so you get the idea. Yeah. Here's the challenge of videotaping and presenting. Good morning, Rotarians. Good morning. Okay. So each week we videotape the meeting, and that gets put on a little card, which then goes to HCTV, and usually Tom or Jimmy or someone takes it over. Really appreciate that. And so our meetings each week are available on HCTV for the week. And the benefits are, if you miss the meeting, Sandy Morse, I have a whole collection for you. You can see the entire meeting on TV. Or if there was just a speaker that you really liked and you want to recommend for someone else to see, that'll be on there as well. Also, amazingly enough, there's a fair number of citizens who watch all the different programs in HCTV, including the Rotary program. So I do get feedback from non-Rotarians that they've seen the show. So also this show becomes part of our exposure to the public. And if you know anyone who's interested in Rotary, try and recruit people, as Jimmy was talking about, then you can recommend that they see it on TV. Also, originally we were on videotape, which Jimmy has this big box of videotapes, and then we were recording on CDs, and now we're on these cards. And so with the cards, they put that on a computer, the CD. So I have the CDs, and they actually gave me, we gave them a portable drive, and they put the shows that they had on computer on that drive. I'm going to go ahead and load up the shows that are on CD on the drive, if anyone really wants to take on the task of putting the videotapes on. But that means that we would have available all the meetings that we've had for the last several years. So, Donna, I think some people have expressed some interest in, and we might be able to go through those and do some compilations. But so there's a real value to it. And in terms of what takes place, so we videotape and we record, and I can't say enough about the setup and takedown team, Larry and Ron and Tom and everyone else who's involved. They get everything set up, and it's a little challenging in this room because in the old room, everything was built in. Here, everything has to be dragged out, set up, and then taken down and put away. So it's really a great job that they do. So my job is checking to make sure all the connections are on and everything is ready. And then I turn on the camera, and I point and I shoot, and then I turn it off. So, has anyone here ever videotaped your kids? Raise your hands. Okay, so you're all expert. You now know how to to do the video. So the key thing, though, is to try and keep the camera on the person. Could you take a look in the camera and see if actually you could see my head? Is it good? Yeah. Not like okay. So you want to make sure of that. So it's pretty basic stuff. Where if someone's walking around now, if you're a speaker and you're walking around and doing this, remember I'm trying to follow you. So. Anyways, in the other piece we work on is the audio. So we have this microphone and we have the walk-around mics. So usually I turn them on and test them before the meeting starts. It's always good to do that rather than during the meeting. And just so you know, if you're not talking the microphone, it's not really picked up very well by the videotape or the disc. Even those who have a really booming voice, it sort of sounds very distant. So that's why we ask if you're up here, you talk in the mic, or if you have a question, if you can come get the microphone. That way people can hear it, at home. So, so that's the microphone, making sure that that works. And then the visual is we have a computer, and that's hooked up to a monitor, which then goes to the screen. And so we can go on the internet, and we can do presentations. There's a CD thing in there. And so a couple things with that. How many people have ever worked with a computer here? Anyone raise your hand? Okay, how many people have worked with computers and it works perfectly every time? You do a presentation, you go to the internet, and boom, it's just up and runs and perfect. Raise your hands. It's worked perfect every single time you've used it. Well, you didn't raise your hand that you did use it, though. No, but anyway, so but my meaning is that it's always good if you have a presentation, you want to use the internet. We just apparently there was some file that was missing or needed to be upgraded, so we have really good internet access now. But if you do have a presentation or you do want to get on the internet, it's a really good idea to come before the meeting and test it out and get it all pre-set up. So that way you don't have the surprises during the meeting. And the other thing is, sometimes, especially if we're going to the internet, and a presentation, and a video, and a this and a that, if everyone could just have a little patience. Sometimes it takes a little while to load up, or sometimes it doesn't load up properly. You got to do it a couple of times. So don't worry, we'll fix it. But just realize we are dealing with computers, and those of us who do it every day know that joy. So everything goes right, and you get this presentation. So we're able to do all these neat things and record that and give that to people at home. How can you help? As I mentioned, if you're doing a presentation, if you can bring it in early and also test the internet. If people are speaking, I have the mics there. If you can just distribute it around or hand it to the next person speaking, that would be a huge help. And if you could speak into it yourself, that's good. Oh, so the camera is pointing at me, right? So if someone stands up and stands in front of the camera, they don't see me anymore, they see the back of that person. So that's why as you're getting up or setting up the meeting or doing things, if you could turn around and see if you're standing right in front of the camera, that would be a good indication that the camera is filming your back. So all I ask is, and you know, so now we have kind of a clear way to see everything, but just as you kind of move around the room, or if, you know, especially when the meeting starts and we do the invocation, I try and film whoever's up here. You know, if you could take a look and see if you're standing right in the way of the camera. Also, that's the only, I can't move the camera around, so forgive me anyone who's sitting behind me, but I'm probably going to block them, and unfortunately I can't really move, but fortunately we have a lot of tables, so however, if you don't want to see what's going on, then sit right behind me. Like I said, you know, just that the video's there, Andy, in case you can't make the meetings, and so you really want to participate in and see them. But thank you very much. And also, there's times when I'm not able to make it, so if someone could sort of video during those times, that would be a big help. Any question?
Just a comment that Laurel Lake helped us fix that problem.
Okay, so for the audience at home that couldn't hear because he didn't have a microphone, Larry was saying that the no, that's really very good. So the internet wasn't working. Laurel Lake came in and did a fantastic job. It works fantastically now. So really, Larry, you're absolutely right. A lot of kudos to Laurel Lake for their help in getting that up and going. So, anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you, James. Appreciate that. And we, a little wave to the camera. We are probably unique in that respect. I'm not aware of any other club, at least locally, that has all this equipment available and is broadcasting on their local cable. So that's pretty special. I also wanted to make a note that our last two presidents did not change, but I think Allison and Donna are going to make sure that now that we have women back in charge, we're going to have a different opening than an old past president up there. One other piece to what James was talking about, one of my duties is every single Wednesday I email Barbara Van Blarkum at HCTV regularly to tell her what the program was, so that she can put that in the paper. So this month she's just been saying Rotary because we haven't had outside speakers, but when we have an outside speaker, that's always published in the Hub as well. Okay, something's coming up pretty soon, and to tell us a little bit about the history of it and why do we do it and what fun it is to participate, Art on the Green and Bob Krampf.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bob. Good morning, Bob.
It is actually a month from today is Art on the Green, August 23rd. However, let's lead into that. Art on the Green is a function that has been provided in Hudson for the past 34 years. This is the 34th year of the Art on the Green event. And as you probably do know just from being there and working and also observing what's been going on, it's a time when artists get together and they display the crafts, the ceramics and art paintings and jewelry, a number of other things like that. There were 150 there last year, and they're expecting another 150 artists to be here this year. And there was about 4,000 people that attended that event. So a number of people are exposed to that opportunity. As part of that Art on the Green, there's a food court. And in that food court, which is located behind the Rosewood Grill, there are a number of vendors who offer food. Hershey's has been there, Hudson's, us, American Legion, I believe, several other vendors. And so that's where we are located, and that's where what we do, as you also know, is our hot dog, brat, and beverage stand. And that is done we set up on Friday, and Friday evening, Friday afternoon, and then we have people, I was going to say manning, I almost attending the booth and serving the customers at the booth on all day Saturday, and all day Sunday. Now, I have passed around a while ago the sign-up sheet, and I'm very happy that all spots are taken except for 4. So if you are interested in still working and haven't signed up, I would encourage you to see me after the session is over today, and I'll put your name down. What I'm going to do is send that out to, I'm going to email it to everybody, what your sign-up sheet, so you can see when you signed up. And if there's any problems, let me know. We have a month to fix things. James Fields already has a problem, and we're going to fix that today. And but let me know, and we'll take care of that. Couple other things that maybe you're really interested to know. The process of getting this set up, it's not difficult work, but it's a number of things that you have to do in order to get us ready for it, for the putting the booth together. We do need to fill in an application with the Society of Artists of Hudson. We need to get a temporary vendor certificate, which has to be filed with Summit County Health Department. We have to arrange for getting coolers from Pepsi-Cola to put all the beverages in, and we use Pepsi products because Pepsi is providing the coolers. And we have to contact Acme to get all the hot dogs and brats and buns and so forth. And they give us a discount. Any discount that is provided on those products over a month period, 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after, they give us the discount prices. And get people to sign up like you. So that's 4 more people, and we're set. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Oh, just to note, my problem is that I'm signed up for Saturday, but that's when we're moving our daughter into
Oh, you are a
state.
problem.
Yeah, so I'm going to be switching to Sunday if someone wants to switch.
Okay. You know, he thinks he's so privileged back there with that microphone.
Yes,
Anyway,
I am.
I would like to add that Art on the Green is one of the most fun things that we do. It's the camaraderie of working together as a team, and production line from the grill to, to the sales part at the front of the booth, et cetera, and it's meeting people and showing goodwill to all of the people who attend the show. So it really is fun. Okay, I'm going to invite someone to come back to the podium now, and Duncan Tanner, is going to tell us what the plans for publicity are this year. Duncan?
Thank you, Gail. I am of the opinion that having to deal with me twice in one session, anywhere, anytime, is ponderous at best, so I'm going to make this real brief. I am the publicity chair this year. I know James is pulling up a brief PowerPoint. I emailed it to you last night. No, and then I brought the thumb drive as a backup.
Yes, he emailed it to that I could pick up on my computer. This is the Rotary computer that doesn't have my email on it.
Oh, my apologies. So much for putting our best foot forward. Folks, I'll cut to the choice in the interest of time, cut to the chase in the interest of time. Yeah, something like that. We need to do the best job we can putting our best foot forward. Because we know what Rotary is, how important it is in our lives, in the lives of the community we serve. That doesn't mean that good folks out there do. And as a result of that, we are visible in the community, but we have more opportunities to become even more visible. For example, we routinely put articles and announcements into the hub. I submitted my first one as publicity chair last week. Gail has been very patient in telling me that sometimes the hub will do it and sometimes the hub won't, but we will err on the side of volume, and we will continue to advertise and promote ourselves through that vehicle. There is this interesting creature out there that some of you have heard of and maybe some of you have even availed yourselves of, and that is social media. I use these vehicles frequently in my line of work, and this is something that we can do. We can certainly enhance our Facebook presence. We can tweet. Raise your hands if you have tweeted. Very good. Raise your hands if you have any idea what I'm talking about. Okay, thank you, Jimmy. We can use Instagram and other immediate ways of sending information and just letting people know that we're engaged and proud to be part of the club. Now, James talked about where we are with HC. It's called Rotary Publicity. There you go. There we go. And we can go past that slide. I believe there are other things we can do with HCTV. We can have other information presented. In terms of goals, certainly we're going to share information internally so we know what's going on in our club. External advertising and publicity is very important, and this builds membership. Folks, regardless of the organization involved, the more you know about an organization, the more you likely are to appreciate it. The more likely you are to appreciate an organization, the more likely you are to join it. So for every Art on the Green and other event that we have a direct involvement with, we can be also involved in other things that are going on in Hudson and the area. For example, we have Taste of Hudson coming up. If we don't have a presence there, a booth or a stand or something, where we are putting our best foot forward by passing out literature and greeting folks, then we should. And there are events like this in the area almost every weekend from Memorial Day through Labor Day. I am big on working with membership to get more good people in here. Rich last week outlined some of the potential new membership designations that we can take advantage of. Again, if we get out and tell the story, even by that most conventional and effective form of advertising, word of mouth, then we can be in a position to grow this club and have an even greater impact on our target audience. Slide. We've listed some of these already. Let's just take a quick look. Word of mouth, social media saturation. Oh, thank you very much. Technology. And feature articles. For years, involved with other Rotary clubs, I always had it in the back of my mind that if we went to the Beacon Journal as a district or combining with the other district that covers Northeast Ohio and really sat down and produced with their assistance a major article about the history, the importance, and the impact of Rotary in Northeast Ohio, Beacon Journal's coverage area certainly, then I think we could score a real coup publicity-wise and put our best foot forward. Finally, involvement at the district level. Wherever we have the opportunity to be involved with other clubs in the district, let's put our best foot forward. Let's get some literature out there. Let's meet people. Let's make sure that our badges are proudly displayed. And finally, oh. Got it? Okay. In a nutshell, in the interest of time, I need your help. I am new to the area, not new to advertising, but new to the region. If something is going on that we should get pictures of, that I could do a little write-up about, that we should be involved in from a putting our best foot forward and potential membership development level, let me know. I'm easy to get a hold of, and we'll get out there with a camera, we'll get out there and meet some folks, and we will tell the Rotary Club of Hudson story. Any questions? Thank you.
Excellent, Duncan. Thank you so much, and love your enthusiasm. Okay, Bob's Bikes was going to be on the schedule. Those of you who responded to Allison's run when you saw the website. Brad, unfortunately, is in South Carolina. He went down for a wedding, and his dad had a stroke while there, so he's not back yet, obviously. Anyway, our anchor man then this morning is Andy Morris, who's going to tell us why we have been involved with Boy Scout Troop 321. How did it start? What's the benefit, et cetera, et cetera. Andy.
Thank you, Gail. Before I get started, I do want to speak about what Duncan said about the women in Rotary. And quite simply, at that time, I had joined in '87. Tom Vince brought me in. I was a young whippersnapper attorney here, thinking, boy, this is a nice group of people. And kind of, what was all this fuss about? And I do remember Sharon Lowe, obviously, was with the schools at the time. You've got to remember Jerry Reeves was a very active Rotarian at the time, and he had encouraged her to be a part of Rotary. And obviously, the rest is history. We got all the rest of you ladies in here, for crying out loud, but that's okay. That's okay. You've helped the club a lot. But at the time, it was kind of like, really? Is this honestly a big fight, and why? But Duncan, thanks for bringing it back to reality there. What I'm talking about, or what Gail asked me to talk about a little bit, is the history of Rotary and the Boy Scouts. And in particular, you've seen every February we've had Boy Scouts be a part of the program. And the question is why? And that's a good question. It all started basically with this guy here, Lord Baden-Powell. And Lord Baden-Powell was an English general who had fought in the African wars, the Boer War, and had written a manual about scouting, not so much for Boy Scouts per se, but for scouting, just how to find the bad people, I guess, or whatever. And the book became a very popular book, and it was rewritten then as Scouting for Boys. And this is really about the turn of the century, about 1903, 1906, somewhere in there. And it became a very popular book to just learn about how to do the scouting. And as a result, when he came back from Africa in 1904, it was shocked to find that there was a lot of activity going on. And that's really kind of the start of what the scouting movement, and that was again for both boys and girls, but the scouting movement at that time. The next one is a guy by the name of William Boyce. Well, William Boyce was he was born in Pennsylvania. He had been very much of an entrepreneur at the time, back in the early, obviously, 1900s. He was involved in newspapers, and one of his claims to fame to become a very wealthy person was he started out with the concept of boys delivering the newspaper. So you had your newspaper delivery boy bringing your paper over to your house, and that was a brand new idea, concept, made him a lot of money. And so he became had a number of different newspapers. So he then started to do traveling and philanthropy and everything else. Well, one year in 1909, he was on his way to Africa for an expedition, a 2-month expedition. And the story goes that he was traveling, he went through London, and he was at his hotel, wherever he was at, trying to get somewhere else, and he got lost in the fog. Okay, and somewhere, somehow, an unknown scout appeared and guided him to where he needed to go. And he was so taken by that. He says, "Well, tell me who and why." First, he wanted to give him a tip. Okay, no. We don't take a tip. And so, well, you know, why were you doing this? Why are you helping somebody? And that's how he got introduced to Baden-Powell, and learned more about it, came back here, and basically said, I think we should be doing that. And there was already movements going on for the youth as the turn of the century for training. So on February 8th of 1910, the Boy Scouts of America was formed. And then there was local troops throughout all the communities. Hudson had one of them at the time, and basically what you had here was a group that started out. Every troop had to be sponsored. I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure who sponsored the troop. It was called Troop 1, because every town had Troop 1, and it was sponsored by someone. And we are almost hitting our 100th anniversary. So literally, scouting started in 1910. We started probably about 1915 or so here in Hudson. As Gail on the video so aptly said, Rotary Club of Hudson was started in 1930. Well, the Scoutmaster in 1930 was E.R. Cece, and Cece happened to be the superintendent of the schools. So you kind of get the part there. And what he wanted, he never had a good location. So what he wanted was he wanted a location for where the boys should meet. They then built the cabin down on the green. First of all, they were looked at it. The cabin on the green, by the way, is not Burt Morgan's birthplace. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Okay, it was built. Hudson Township. Remember, we had the split between the township and the city, or the village, I should say. And the Hudson Township owned that property as part of their parks. Okay, so that is township property. And so the CC came to, as Scoutmaster, came to the township and said, "Can I have some of this land here?" He was granted it, and they started building it. Just a little aside, if you show the next picture, what you've got here is you have a cabin, and the cabin is actually made out of wormy chestnut. That wood was taken from our Boy Scout camp over in Peninsula, Camp Manitowoc, and that is, of course, that wood is extinct now. I mean, there are no wormy chestnut trees, but the dining hall at Camp Manitowoc is the largest existing structure in the world made of wormy chestnut. And we were, and I don't know how, but we obviously chopped the trees down, brought them in here. And Cece is the person who actually made the fireplace there as part of that. The cabin was dedicated on, and by the way, I want to thank Tom Vince. He was very helpful. We did a porch story, 4 or 5 years ago, and Tom helped me with the Hudson Times, which is from August 20th of 1931. Which then talked about the dedication, which was on the 26th of August, 31. And at that time, you had H.N. Wood, who was the headmaster of the Western Reserve Academy, presenting. You had, of course, St. Mary's, Father McCaffney, but more importantly, on the Scout Committee were a number of the Hudson Rotarians from back then. And you had people like W.A. Stanley. Well, W.A. Stanley, Wilbur Stanley, by the way, happens to be Bob Drew's grandfather, just to kind of put it back into perspective. And I know you were asking earlier, who's Bob Drew? Well, again, just one of the people who's an accountant here in town, who's been around for a while. But you had Dr. Wiedenthal, you had R.A. Mickle, you had Spencer Corlett, and you had James Scales. These are all Rotarians that were on the Scout Committee back in 31. You then had a number of the people who were involved with it too, who then came and were a part. For example, at that initial thing was James Searcy. Well, for those of you who remember, Searcy's Market on Main Street was part of that group, and he was the one who started the market there. The cabin then was built. That's where they met. On the inside, you've got a picture of the, if you would, James, if you would please. Of the cabin. It's, as I say, it was a small one. It was then expanded, I believe. There is the fireplace in there, which used to heat it. Then there were wonderful modern inventions called a furnace that was added, which kind of helped. But usually it was cooked. It was done with the wood. So Scouts has been involved with the Rotary ever since Rotary was started back in 1930. So the cabin was started in 1930, was dedicated in 1931. So it took about a year or so to build, or actually it was started and then was done it started in February, so it was during the 31. So Boy Scouts has always been a part of Rotary, and the question then is why, and why do we support them? Well, we've been the sponsor through that whole period of time. And it's been a great relationship from the standpoint. Of course, I've been involved in both Scouts and Rotary since the 80s as the Cub Scouts, because we also represent the Cub Scouts, Pack 3321, and then also the Troop 321. We've had a number of the Eagle Scouts. These people have all gone on to do wonderful things. You've got people who are, obviously doctors, veterinarians. Jeff Janzig up in Twinsburg is one of our Eagle Scouts. You've got obviously lawyers, but those are a dime a dozen. I appreciate that. So but you've had a lot of people who've come through the program who've made a difference, and that's really what our part is we've made a difference. And so from that standpoint, we've got a lot to be proud of. We've got a lot to be proud of from the youth that we've had out there. So hopefully that answers your question, Gail.
Great,
thank you.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I was talking to a Boy Scout the other day, and I said, have you done any good deeds? He says, I helped 3 ladies across the street, and 2 of them didn't even want to go.
Ooh.
Jimmy, you want to come up here? You had another announcement.
We got to rethink that microphone.
This is an oldie but goodie, but there's a whole box of these VCR, VHS, whatever, out there with names on them. Take a look. You might want to take one with you. This is from August of 2000 by Tom Munn, but there's a lot of interesting tapes out there. Take any one you want. Thanks.
Just wanted to announce that there is the Rotary Foundation annual meeting. After this meeting today, everyone's welcome to attend. And don't forget to sign in when you come to our meetings, because that helps us for registration with Rotary International, and we're having the Lyle Poley Attendance Award that we're tracking as well. Rotabuck payout is $12 today. The jackpot is $320.
Dig deep. Right?
Dig deep. Okay, go ahead and announce it.
269042. Well, at least we're sitting at the same table.
That's right. Sorry, Ron.
Madam
See.
President,
Yes.
I just would like to
Art
make one
LaFountain?
statement about women in Rotary.
He's a brave man.
If it wasn't for the women in this club, who would do all the work? That's all I want to say.
You have something you wanted to say too? We've opened the floodgates, yes.
Just for old time's sake, could we have Duncan reread that article from Akron in 1912 about how women should...
Oh, I'm not doing that. I wouldn't make it out of here alive.
You couldn't stop when you were ahead, could you? See you next week.
Thank you for watching our program, and thanks to HCTV for providing us the opportunity to televise our Rotary meetings. Our club meets every Wednesday throughout the year at 7:15 a.m. in Laurel Lakes Community Room. You are most welcome to attend one of our meetings to learn more about our mission. Thank you.